Okay, I've drawn a simple shape. Reminds me vaguely of a horseshoe. If I rotate it around a bit, you can see I've got sort of vaguely rounded on the front, it's rounded at the back, it slopes up towards the top, and that would be a perfectly fine shape for me to make a very simple mobile phone stand, except for one thing, which of course there's nowhere to slot the mobile phone or the tablet into. I need to make a slot through here. Now, because the edge is sloped, that actually is quite tricky to do. If I start trying to draw angles, it's going to try and draw a line at an angle the same, try and rotate button again, as the side there. And if I then try to extrude this down, it doesn't extrude in a straight line across, and it gets really confused and really lost and starts doing all sorts of things. So I'm going to undo all of that. So the way to make it is to actually make the section you're going to cut out separately, and to do that I need to know the dimensions of this, which is 70 millimeters long that way and it's 15 millimeters tall this way, and I want to put a slot in it about 10 millimeters high from the base, and I want to put it in about 10 millimeters back from the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new file, and I'm going to take the camera angle round to the left. Okay, and the reason for that, you look where the three lines join up, they join up on the left hand side. So camera, standard views on the left. I said I want to draw a line that's 5 millimeters in from the front and 5 millimeters up from the bottom. So I'm going to make that 5 by 5, which is going to become instantly very, very small, almost invisibly small because of the scale of these things. If I zoom in, there it is there. And I'm going to use that now to draw my slot, which is going to be 15 millimeters deep. So I'm going to make that 15 by 15. Okay, so if I zoom out a touch, I can see that that's going to form my slot. So don't need this one, I've just used this one just to get the position right. So I can rub that away, just leaving me with my slot. Problem is, I don't want my slot to be straight up and down. I'd rather like my slot to be at an angle. And I can do that easily by selecting the whole thing. So I'm going to select it, and then click on the rotation tool, click on the front, click on the edge, and now I can rotate it. And I want that angle to be about 15 degrees. I think that looks around about right. I'm now going to go to a isometric projection. I'm going to drag that, whoops, I'm going to drag that to 470, and I'm going to file, and I'm going to save that as cutout. So I've now got two different pieces. So file and new, and I'm going to import my rounded base, which I think is what I called my best rounded base. I'm going to put that right down in the corner there, and I'm going to zoom in so I can see it, and I'm going to take it standard views on the left, so I'm looking at it from the left hand side, and file and import the second piece I made, and the second piece I made was the cutout, and there is the cutout. I'm going to bring that in, and now I can start positioning that where I want it to be. And if I take the camera views to isometric, I actually want to position that on the origin, because I drew it from the original origin point. Okay, and there it is. So now I've got two pieces here. I've got my original base, and I've got the piece I want to use as the cutout. And you're saying, well, at the moment it just seemed to be two pieces there. And in fact, looking at this, I suspect they might want to go back and move that back a bit, because that's leaving a little bit of a thin piece at the front. But I'll give it a play. What I want to do now is subtract this piece from this piece. To do that, I click on the piece I want to take away, and then shift on the piece I want to take it away from. So you always click on the piece you want to take away first. Right mouse click, and what you're looking for is solid tools and subtract. Now, I actually don't like what it's done. Okay, I think my little thing at the front looks slightly silly. I also think that this bit at the bottom has gone a little bit too thin. So when I'm doing this, I do need to think quite carefully what it's going to look like when I take the piece away. But in terms of actually doing it more simply, having a completely separate piece which you then take away is a much easier way to do it.